Deal or No Deal Island is on NBC Tuesdays at 9 Eastern Time. The 2-hour premiere of Season 2 of Deal or No Deal Island this past Tuesday, January 7th. You can watch it on Peacock, which is available right here on the Roku portal. Our dear friend, my dear friend, Joe Manganiello, back here on the Rich Eisen Show. Now one big happy family on the radio network that just rejoined us for the radio network. Joe Manganiello hasn't aged a day, with the exception of the salt and pepper in his beard. And you're wearing a fantastic T-shirt of a Step Brothers meme of George Pickens with his hands on the shoulder of Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
sir.
This,
you're hoping that this is the case on Saturday night, by the way.
Totally. I'm hoping that they meet up at the Catalina wine mixer, and it's just sweet music from there. I'm hoping. We're all hoping.
Well, right now, you need them to treat the Ravens like somebody touched their drum set.
Yeah, exactly.
And it has been, I don't know what the hell's happened the last month. I mean, what's going through your brain right now, Joseph?
Man, listen, what's going through my brain is we have a game on Saturday.
You do.
Okay? Listen, and we need to win that game. We need to play spoiler. It's any of the third games of the year against division rivals. I know that there's a bit of difference between the score between when you're playing a team at home or you're playing on the road. Like, I get it that's a big deal. And
yes,
Lord knows we wanted to play the home game. But, when two teams know each other really well, certainly the first meeting between the Steelers and the Ravens was at their place, and we handled them. Mm-hmm. And, I know that Lamar is a perennial MVP, possibility, but he always has off games against the Steelers. This last home game that he played, that was like the first time he's played good against us in years. Mm-hmm. So hopefully the defense is on. The All-Pros just went out this year, and I want to say congratulations to Cam Hayward, my guy.
Unbelievable.
He's having an unbelievable season at 35. I went back to the second Browns game, the Browns revenge game, and waved the towel before kickoff. Nice. And Cam gave me his game-worn jersey from that game. Yeah. I traded him some one-piece memorabilia, and he gave me his signed jersey. So
that's
a
nice swap. That's a nice memorabilia swap.
So I don't know. Anything can happen. Obviously, we I don't know if limping into the playoffs is the right term.
I just don't know. I mean, again, to start 4-2 and then Tomlin to do the Tomlin thing, which is like, this is why I get paid the big bucks, and we're going to go to Russ, who turns a 4-2 team into a 10-3 team.
Yeah.
And then here's the two things that happen. Pickens goes out.
Yeah.
And he doesn't just go out. He goes out at the outset of a 3-game stretch in 11 days.
Yeah.
Where it's a Sunday, Saturday, Wednesday. And, we're all creatures of habit in the NFL. There aren't Sunday, Saturday, Wednesday stretches. And that Sunday is Eagles, the Saturday is Ravens, and the Wednesday is Chiefs.
Sure.
And that's tough. But those are the teams you're going to have to beat to get to your promised land.
Absolutely.
That you're looking to see.
And there were several other teams that had to go through that type of gauntlet in terms of timing of games, but nobody else had to play that run of teams. That you want to have a week at least to prepare for each one. Correct. Especially with your top wide receiver out, your outside guy.
Chiefs had Browns, you had Eagles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And that Ravens had Giants, you had Eagles.
And Eagles, we traditionally... That's a tough matchup for us. That's a slugfest. The Eagles are built the way that we are, the way the Ravens are, and those games just take a lot out of you. So, there was that game the first game against the Bengals where we went into a shootout. So we thought, okay, if we can get into a shootout against Kansas City, we'll be okay. But I just think they were just exhausted and beat up by then.
I think so. So again, it is amazing how redemptive, obviously, the NFL can be, where you are. You would talk limping, the third team in the history of the NFL to go into the playoffs in a 4-game losing streak. But all you got to do is just turn it around and you win a game against the Ravens. And now,
we go back to the Chiefs.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to face them at some point,
right? Of course. I mean, hopefully we can play spoiler. Hopefully we can play spoiler to the Ravens.
Where'd you get this shirt?
This is a gift. So my girlfriend is from Uniontown. TJ, she says hi.
Tell her I said what up.
Yeah, my girlfriend Caitlin, who's also from Pittsburgh, she was surfing around on the internet and found this on Shopify. Yeah, this is a total bootleg, but you find these great.
It's amazing.
Sometimes in Pittsburgh, in the Strip District, I found her there's a rainbow sherbet colored hoodie with George Pickens on it. Like you could just find like the greatest shirts sometimes. There's really, and sometimes like those bootlegs. Sometimes like bootleg Gucci is better than real Gucci. It's kind of like Pittsburgh memorabilia is that way too. Sometimes the bootlegs are, This is certainly one of them. This stepbrother. This is one of my Christmas gifts.
By the way, it's fantastic. The picture of Pickens is amazing. Just gotta get him
get his head in the game.
Yeah, right. It seems like I don't know what's going on there.
I don't know what's going on.
He's so incredibly talented, and he could flip this entire Zay Flowers, right? So that is significant loss for Baltimore.
Yeah, it is.
I'm trying to find the silver lining.
Listen, I know we're dancing around. We're walking on eggshells here.
It feels again. It went from this could be it. Russ is having a renaissance to here we go again. Like that it's 10-7, the same record that is pissing off so much of the fan base in Pittsburgh because, Tomlin, it's not like he wakes up every day saying, how do I check the box of continuing my winning season streak going? That's not his reason for being.
No, but it's the same procedural series every season, I think is what you're saying. We tune in every season and we get middle of the road draft, and you have this kind of middle. And I was talking to Ben Roethlisberger when I was back home in Pittsburgh, and I said, look.
He's not name dropping. This is Joe Manganiello.
Listen, we're on a sports show, okay?
Cam Hayward is swapping gear with him.
So James Harrison and I were hanging out, which actually has happened.
It's true.
But it's true. Yeah. But I love Debo.
He just sat in that chair a few weeks ago.
He was here.
He's the best.
And he can steer a hole.
He sure can. I saw him once. Bud Dupree was sitting on the end of the bench. And I was at a game, and I looked down the sidelines, and I just happened to see this interaction. And James came off of the field and pointed at Bud and went, like your dad, like you're sitting in your dad's chair in the living room. He just went, and Bud just got up and bounced up and got up. When you're doing that to a 6'5", 272-pound monster, and they listen and jump up, like, the seat's hot, it's like, you're a bad man. I mean, by the way, how can you not have the baddest man in the NFL for a stretch?
Yes.
Not in the Hall of Fame.
Who, James Harrison, you're talking about?
He was the Mike Tyson of the NFL for a stretch. How do you not have the baddest dude?
And obviously got a Super Bowl ring. And
greatest play in Super Bowl history. If it would have ended the game, there'd be no question. But it ended a half.
Can you imagine if that ended the second half?
Imagine if that ended a game. There'd be no question. There'd be no question.
By the way, did you guys see the Chris Boswell interview? I saw it on X and then I lost it, so I didn't get to finish it. But he said when he was a rookie, Harrison came up to him. He was about to go kick a field goal. And Harrison told him, if you miss this kick, you're washing my back in the shower.
What? That's what he said.
According to Chris Boswell.
Please tell me he split the uprights.
Bro, like I said, it was on X.
Wow.
And you know how...
By the way, when I mean that, I mean he made the field goal.
Not a euphemism. Listen, he hasn't missed a 50-yarder since.
I was just gonna
say. He's like the most active. He's the greatest kicker in Steelers history for a reason. You know what I mean?
Just so everyone's clear what I meant when I said what I said.
No, but James was at that Browns game sitting next to Ben going, pass, run. Like he was calling out all of the Browns plays. And we're like, we need to install a phone on the sidelines. It's like, Cam, James would like to speak to you. Like he was just calling out everything. But Ben and I were talking, and I was like, look, I know a lot is made of the winning record thing in Pittsburgh, but if you don't have a losing season, you don't get Ben Roethlisberger, you don't get your franchise quarterback. If you don't have a losing season, you don't get Troy Polamalu, those guys that were the foundational blocks for a Super Bowl run. So, and Ben was like, you think the people of Pittsburgh are going to be okay with that? I'm like, I think the people of Pittsburgh are savvy enough to know that, if that were to happen, we're okay because we're going to pick up that guy of the future. With that said, we need to go out there and beat Baltimore on Saturday. That's it.
I think so, because other than that, if they lose the last 5 games of the season and get one and done by the Ravens, losing to the Ravens in Baltimore, what would that be? Twice in the last 3 games. That would be there'd be a lot of recriminations and fingers pointed and things of that nature.
Everybody was saying in the middle of the season when we were 10-3 that this is a Super Bowl contending team. I mean, obviously we went through that gauntlet where opinions changed, but at that moment,
no doubt,
everybody, and I said it and I got excited, and
yeah, I'm trying to see where in that was. I guess
2-game lead.
Yeah, at Cincinnati, and then home for Cleveland. They played Cleveland and Cincinnati in a 3-game stretch after beating Baltimore at home in Week 11, and then beating Washington in Washington, coming off the bye.
Right.
And I was saying, with the way that Russ was throwing, 300-yard games.
400-yard
game.
Yeah.
I'm like, this team can win the Super Bowl. And then, again, Pickens gets hurt just on the outset of that crazy-ass 3-game and 11-day stretch against 3 of the Super Bowl contending teams, and you lost all 3 of them. Gives you that feeling, that sinking feeling. And then, of course, what happened against Cincinnati. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.